Porn stars are more respectable than Twitch thoughts. Citizens of Reddit, what are your most unpopular opinions? Telling someone to not be sad because other people have it worse is like saying, don't be happy because other people have it better, right? I used to hear this all the time as a teenager, and it would just confuse and irritate me. Obviously most people should know that not everyone has it great and sometimes we go through shit. But when did that sentence make anyone feel better? I think it irritates me more now as an adult, because not everyone hurts the same. Two different people get into accidents and they both can have very different reactions from each other, so why would we use the same technique to keep people from being sad? Instead of saying shit quotes and cliches, why not figure out what's really going on with them? Sometimes people have a hard time finding the root of their pain and lash out at everything because no one understands. Maybe they don't know how to say it either, but being there for someone when they need it matters. Talent shows such as America's Got Talent are disgusting. All of the focus is on the show and not the talent. They don't care about how good you are unless you're exceptionally good or exceptionally bad. When someone's performing, the camera pans to the judges' faces. As long as you're decent and have a sob story, you win. They literally humiliate and attack the candidates to provoke reactions. The outbreak of a deadly, highly contagious virus would devastate the United States because we lack an affordable healthcare system. Let's say hypothetically the new Chinese coronavirus starts spreading in the United States. It would be impossible to stop the spread because infected people won't seek medical care. Why? Because going to the hospital is ridiculously expensive. In China, a 2-week stay in quarantine is virtually free. In the United States, it would cost somewhere between $50k and $500k. Even if you have insurance, what if the quarantine hospital is out of network? You would be completely screwed. A decent number of people would rather take their chances at home versus incurring this kind of debt. When they finally decide to seek medical care, it may be too late. Many will die. Many will be crippled by debt for life. Healthcare here is such a disaster, and fixing it is a pipe dream. We are sitting ducks for the next epidemic. People who cut off semi-trucks deserve it when their cars get smashed to oblivion. It should be pretty obvious that a vehicle weighing 10 to 20 times more than an average passenger vehicle is going to need a hell of a lot more room and time to stop. Yet, people still like to try to get around the big slow asshole and sometimes mess with them. You get what you deserve at that point. Cops do not deserve respect by default just for being cops. It is almost like gospel in the US. Cops are out there being selfless and deserve respect just for wearing a badge, etc. They should not receive any more respect than they earn in their capacity as a police officer. I'm not just talking about local city police. ATF, FBI, DSA and all the rest are in this same category. I understand they do a difficult and often thankless job. It is also often dangerous. But guess what? They chose to do it. They do not deserve respect just for having signed up. I would even go as far as to say that a majority of them are bad cops. Not crooked or on the take, but just doing the job for the wrong reasons. Way too many are power hungry, ego tripping assholes that are barely stable and have no business having authority over the population, much less have any business being armed while having that authority. Entirely too many of them are people that have a chip on their shoulder for various reasons. Couldn't qualify to join the military, are sociopaths or are ex-jocks and bullies who couldn't let go of their perceived power. So what happens? Give them a badge and a gun and real authority, and they run amok. To make it worse, there is no reliable system in place to get rid of the bad ones, even after they have demonstrated that they have no business in a position of power. I'm tired of seeing them hailed as heroes just for existing. I realize that the bad shit that happens is what will end up on the news, but there are just way too many examples of abuse of power and outright douchebaggery out there to treat them like saints with a gun. Full disclosure, I'm white, but I have close friends who are not, and they are legit scared to be pulled over for a traffic stop because they don't know if they will survive it. These are professional people, educated, law-abiding citizens who are scared of being pulled over for a broken headlight. The people and system that has instilled that fear in them is nothing to be celebrated. Maybe if police departments started proactively weeding out the bad ones, when they do bad shit the population would start to begin to trust them. Until planting evidence, or killing an innocent kid, just because they are the wrong color in the wrong part of town is a permanent disqualifier from ever serving as a cop again. There can be basis on which to form that trust. Americans are the most nationalist people of Reddit when it comes to their war history. Hear me out first. Every time someone is critical of America or a news article about Iraq, Vietnam or any other war the US has taken part in, there are always people who defend any action of their government or their armed forces. That's true for any country of course, but some Americans cannot accept that sometimes their country is the bad guy. I literally made a comment today that Americans used shotguns in World War I and dropped nukes on civilians in World War II, and I got demonized massively because I talked about these facts. And no, winning the war or saying that their enemies did equally bad or worse things doesn't justify it. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm in no way, shape, or form racist against any nation in the world. I understand that being civil in a war can be very tricky. I just find it weird, since most of Americans are left-leaning and like to criticize the government. The child-free community is just as judgmental and obnoxious as the people pressuring others to have kids. Like, I understand that kids aren't for everybody. I get that some people don't want them, and I respect that. That being said, a lot of child-free people can be kind of assholes about it. They're super judgmental around people who have or want to have kids, and a lot of them take an unfairly negative approach to children in general. Look, it's fine you don't find the prospect of having children fulfilling, but some people do, and that's okay. For a group that I assume was born out of people's frustration at being judged for having a specific vision for their future, they really seem to spend a lot of time judging people for having a specific vision for their future. Also, please stop demonizing children. It's not their faults that they can be loud sometimes, or that they take up resources. Literally, all of us started out that way, and they aren't going to be like that forever. Sure, it can sometimes be annoying to be around them, but at the end of the day, they're just people like everyone else. It's hella weird when people refer themselves as the parent of their pets. I don't think that people who do this are weird, because it's a very common thing, but I find the act itself weird. It's strange for me to think of my dog as my son. I'm his owner, and he's my pet, not my offspring. Picking a career that pays well is more important than picking a passionate career. Making sure you have bread on your table and shelter above your head is the hardest road to happiness. You may want to go for a bachelor's in turf grass science or video game designing, but these are things you can do after you set yourself up for success. After you've planted a seed of financial security, you can continue to practice your passions at home, or go back to school to try and design video games, or teach dance theory. But in the meantime, why wouldn't you want to have a company 6% match into your 401k, or you yourself build up 15 grand into your savings account? You can always try and be the best pipe fitter, welder, or accounts manager until you break through your passion and turn that passion into a side hustle or full time later on. No face porn has become entirely too popular, and that really sucks. If you live in the US and you go on Pornhub today, by looking on the front page you will see that there is a top 6 videos section. Out of those 6 videos, 5 of them are scenes where the actress doesn't show her face. I guess it's the ass craze in this country that's the reason for this. Ever since Instagram became the photo shrine that it is today, maybe guys just don't feel like they need to see faces anymore. But to me, the face is what makes the scene. Being able to see the woman's expressions, watch her take the money shot on her grill, etc. People have no respect for those struggling with addiction. I've personally never had someone close to me suffer from addiction. Recently I made a post with a screenshot from Mac Miller's music video for Good News. There was at least one comment trashing him for his bad decisions. Today I searched Amy Winehouse on Reddit to find some fellow fans. One of the most popular posts was on this subreddit, saying she was overrated. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I think she was fantastic. In that post though, and in several other posts about her, there's multiple disgusting comments about her addiction. The rehab jokes have been around since her death. but people go way harder on her. Same with Mac. Why do people think it's okay to look down on the deceased just because they did drugs? People love to talk about the military girlfriends and wives who are caught cheating whilst their boyfriend/husband is overseas, but we seem to ignore the military personnel who also cheat whilst overseas. We all know the story. Serviceman returns home early to surprise his girlfriend/wife, but finds her in bed with another man. He beats the shit out of said man, calls his girlfriend/wife a couple of mean names, packs her shit, and kicks her out of the house. Or you watch a soldier's coming home to girlfriend's video on YouTube and you've got those comments that say she was probably sucking another man's dick while he was gone, or she's most likely a whore. Even worse, when said girlfriend or wife is pregnant and you've got the "I bet that it isn't his." How TF is she pregnant when her husband is overseas? Even if it was specified she was pregnant before her husband was deployed, or he's been gone for 9 months, but I bet she's actually been pregnant for like 5. Disclaimer, I see nothing wrong with this reaction. That bitch deserves everything that's coming to her. Screw anyone who cheats on their so when they're away. But what I don't see many people taking about is when it happens the other way round. Hell, a lot of service members themselves admit that cheating is rampant in the military, and it's probably a lot easier to hide it from their spouse as well. We treat cheating on your service member partner as some unforgivable blasphemy because these people lay down their lives for this country. But those same people are given a free pass to be unfaithful to their own girlfriends/wives back home. Cheating is wrong, no matter who is doing it. Military members don't get a free pass. If I can tell your political opinions by just looking at you, you're probably an insufferable individual. Pretty much the title, but this goes for anyone on any side of the political spectrum. Obviously there's a bit of profiling here, but in my experience for the most part it's pretty accurate. You can pretty much tell the opinions of someone with purple hair and a septum piercing, just like you can pretty accurately guess the ideas of someone wearing a camo shirt with no sleeves and a mouthful of dip. Feel free to broadcast yourself anywhere you choose, but don't get upset if I then choose to avoid you at all costs, because you're most likely intolerable and annoying. Edit. To clarify my point, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there with purple hair that love to wear camo and have very nuanced political stances. I'm speaking more of people that take their political views and develop their entire identity around it and then proceed to shove it down the throat of everyone they meet. If a gay character existing in a video game bothers you, you have a problem. If the mere presence of a gay character is a problem for you, then something is wrong with you. You might say it's just pandering and unnecessary. You know what is pandering and unnecessary? Easter eggs. But no one complains about those. It's a harmless addition to the game that brings joy to a lot of people. Prostitution is perfectly okay and shouldn't be illegal. So there is a big story now in my country about Russian escorts that come, especially to work in our country as escorts. The police, the government and a lot of the population are against it. I don't understand why. They come here on their own will, make good money, get protection if something happens, and even getting an apartment. They earn around $300 an hour and this money can help a lot to their families back homes or their children. The customers enjoying it, and the escorts make a lot of money. If they are treating them bad, hitting them, or not paying them what they deserve, it is wrong. However, this is not the case. If this is handled like a legit business, what is the problem? Porn stars are more respectable than Twitch thoughts. Twitch thoughts are some of the most unappreciative people in the world, who base their only existence on looks and attitude. For porn stars, they at least put in the work and respect their fans for supporting them. Also with porn stars, they get to the fucking point and knows why you're there, unlike Twitch thoughts who literally wears less clothing than a stripper begging for money and insulting their fan base and not even once showing a titty da fuck. The thing that makes Twitch thoughts less respectable is that they pretend they aren't in it for the money, refuse to own up to the fact that their webcams are pointed down and their attire is meant to draw in horny teenagers. Thanks for watching. Tell me your unpopular opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching Random Reddit TTS. Be sure to have a wonderful day, you snuggle muffin.